I like happy chemicals. I like the ones that our bodies create naturally. And sometimes I like ones that are external, like a cup of good coffee and getting that caffeine, or a nice glass of wine. I'm being honest with you, okay? But I really like the happy chemicals that my body can create. Adrenaline, endorphins. I know that there's some others. I'm not a scientist, but I know that they're there. Do you like happy chemicals too? In other words, God made our bodies to respond to certain things, okay? Romance, for example. The marital embrace of a husband and a wife. There are all these different things that impact the human psyche, our mind, our bodies, how we feel, moods, getting sun, vitamin D helps us to fight depression. I like the happy chemicals. And if I had my way, if I was left to my own devices, if it was just about me and what I wanted, I would always pursue the things that made me feel happy, or that distracted me, or that made me laugh, right? Last night, I watched a comedy movie with my wife. We've had a rough string of weeks, and I said to her yesterday, I said, I have to laugh, because there's certain chemicals that are released. I said, so we've got to find a good comedy, and we've got to watch it. I need to laugh. And we did. We went to bed way too late, but I laughed. I enjoyed the happy chemicals. And the reason I'm telling you that is because we're all made of the same stuff, but we're not all on the same path. Some people take a path to have chemical reactions that are very self-destructive, that are either immoral, criminal, or both, all right? We're made of the same stuff. Some people go on one path, some go on another. And for those of you who are wondering, what does this have to do with revolution? Trust me, I'm bringing it around. I'm certain that Thomas Jefferson enjoyed tobacco as well as wine. The reason I know is because the Brits, when they came into his home, destroyed his wine cellar. One estimate I read was like $50,000 or might have been $100,000 worth of wine at that time, okay? This was an unbelievable wine cellar. And out of sheer spite, the Brits came to his house to arrest him. He wasn't there, and they destroyed all of his wine. So Thomas Jefferson, who lost his wife when he was a young man, who had unthinkable grief, he had issues that he had to deal with. There's this stuff about his slave that's out there. There's clearly a beautiful wine cellar that was destroyed. But somehow he did not get so sated and so dissipated that he was unable to think clearly when it came to life and liberty and property. Are you following me still? So there is a way for us to enjoy our family, enjoy our spouses, enjoy running and getting a good endorphin rush that is not designed to distract us from the things that matter, okay? So if someone said you've got a fortnight to live, you have 2 weeks and you're going to die, what would matter? At that exact moment, I want you to think, what would matter to you if you had 2 weeks to live? A famous Christian author, what was the exact quote? He said, nothing gives a man more focus than knowing he has a fortnight to live. I think that most of us would say, if I knew I had 2 weeks, I think that most of us would say, I have to get my house in order internally because I'm going to face God. So what matters to God right now has to matter to me. And we would start with our family, our relationships, but also their well-being. If I knew that I had 2 weeks to live, I would spend every minute I could with my wife and my children, and I would do everything I could to laugh, love, weep, pray, talk about God, talk about the next life, and do what I could to make sure that they were taken care of. Because as the father, now I'm going to be gone. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to bring all of this around to whether or not we are going to have a shooting war to restore our freedoms. One of the greatest joys and passions that I have had for almost my entire life is music. And one of the best times that I had was putting together some albums in Nashville of songs that I wrote. One of the albums is called Dark Sunglasses Day. This is a country album, a lot of love songs and patriotic music. We've made it available to you online, and I hope that you'll go take a listen. You might be pleasantly surprised. You might even find yourself singing along. In social revolution, peaceful social revolution, there are rules. And those rules have been established by social revolutions of the past, and the Christian community in America has failed to obey a lot of those rules, and that's why we keep losing. I put together Insurrecta Next, a 14-part television series on the history and the theology of social revolution. I encourage you to watch it. It will make you a force for righteousness, for social revolution.